Great, thank you, Jesse. I'm gonna just play with the view, make sure I've got the right view.
There she is. Hi, Michelle. Top of the road.
Hello.
Careful, up where I am.
Yeah, the slippery up there.
Snow, snow is slippery.
I know,
They have all sorts but they're not great.
that four-wheel drive.
That's all-wheel drive. But I definitely.
So I don't like that.
That's not good.
What?
I had to,
Oh, what are you
you know,
doing?
you don't go into that little unit.
Yeah.
All right, well, I taxed my technical abilities here with Zoom. So we'll leave it as it is, people can see us. I know back in the day, I had it so that we would appear as the dinner plate, and I don't know why it's doing it like that.
Probably upgraded.
They did change it. It's- So here's. Well, I'm gonna I'll research that later. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the December 8th town board meeting. And I'll start the meeting with the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You? And normally we would start with privilege of the floor, but I can see that there are members of the public here, but would anybody like to address the board about anything before we start the meeting? So. But we're
Where I
gonna,
should be on
Yeah.
the agenda. under employment.
I'll add you to the agenda, so you don't need to worry about that. So
Then I'll be.
just going through that formality. There's no one in Zoom. So I'll open the meeting and welcome Monica, who came out tonight to join us in the snow. Thank you. And is modifying the ag plan at our request. And so she sent us, I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at it today.
Sorry to send it
But
late.
she sent us some. And let's see, I did make hard copies if anybody wants a hard copy.
I'll take a look.
I'd like, I read it, but it's always easy to read.
Would you like one?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Can I see it?
Thank you.
Have those?
That one?
Oh, sorry, I gave you.
It's only one sheet. Okay. Yeah.
Go there. Okay.
Well, it was good to go through it because I found a few things
Okay.
too, still needed some fixing, little tweaking here and there. So I'll just explain what I did and then you can ask questions, I guess. So I went through and started with your comments and Tim's regarding when the committee when and how the committee was formed. I made a new paragraph for that. You know, you can decide whether you like it or not. If you want to modify it, let me know. And then let's see, that was nothing. Okay. There was a question about the page 13, there was weaknesses and zoning was just one word in a line. And I didn't really feel like changing that in a big way because it was really what people said. I mean, people in the town were, you know, farmers were concerned about zoning, so I don't think I can change that. But I did change the sort of the sentence that it would be couched in, so it was a shorter bullet before that just said, you know, development pressure, zoning, and rising urban property taxes. So I just tried to give it a little more surround by saying concerns about development pressure, zoning implications, regarding property taxes.
So that's in the strength and weaknesses box on page 13 that you're
Yeah.
referring to?
Mhm. And you had mentioned that, so I just sort of was responding to
Yeah.
that as a, I mean, I feel like since that's what people said, I wouldn't get it.
I guess I'll just say my own feeling is that those boxes come off as to me as informational.
Mhm.
And so that's the way I took it, not as a survey, not as reporting.
Yeah, I was thinking of whether I should add a like explanation at the top that says, you know,
Here's what
strengths,
people,
weaknesses, opportunities as expressed at the meeting and in the survey results.
Mhm.
So it's really,
I
it's.
think that would be better.
Okay.
Um,
So I can
Otherwise,
add-
I'm really concerned. I mean, I think this is an opportunity in my opinion, to correct misinformation that's been out there for a long time. And
Yeah.
But it's still a concern by the community.
What's that?
Yeah,
It's still a concern by the community. It doesn't take away the fact that people are still have a concern about it.
I'm not arguing with that,
Oh,
so
okay.
I agree, but that's not what I took this to be, an expression of concerns. I took it to be boxes saying here are the strengths and weaknesses.
Wait, where does it say
zoning in this?
this was strictly, and I can even show you
Okay.
the list that it was generated. That was a specific question we had in
Sure,
the survey and in the mail survey, and it said exactly, you know, what do you think are the weaknesses? What do you think are the strength?
Of what?
Of agriculture in the town.
Okay, but when they, I guess, yeah, I feel like this is old stuff, but I was very concerned, I remain very concerned about when people say they're concerned or against zoning, that's different than actually referring to the actual zoning law that we have. So there's a difference in just being against any zoning ever, against versus the specific law of zoning. And
I
I
would say
find that they
this
get
is-
used interchangeably a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and we were going through the zoning law process, a lot of people were concerned. A lot of people's concerns weren't addressed. There wasn't in, like, one person got up and said he wouldn't be able to own his cows anymore, right? Which he could, right? And so I'm like, yes, he had concerns. But actually, it doesn't reflect the zoning law in Caroline. So I just want to be careful about saying, making sure it doesn't look like this is giving information about the zoning law,
Yeah,
that
I
it's
would
concerns
say-
of.
this is
people
this though, I
Yeah.
would say is referring to zoning in general.
in general.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say it's definitely in general.
No, okay,
There's nothing, I can, you know, I mean, I
Right.
looked at those surveys a million times, so
Sure.
I could say there was nothing that said specifically, I don't like this part of the zoning law. It's just,
Okay.
you know, a one line response, and I'd say in general, most farmers are gonna say they don't like zoning, so. You know, it's just the sentiment, and this is an agriculture plan, so this has gotta
Right.
be reflecting what the farm community says, so.
And again, I mean, just the way that it reads, I think you're right, if you could add something,
If I just
because
put a sentence.
this read to me as recommendation or
Okay.
a summary of results, which apparently it isn't, so.
Okay, so I'll just make a
Yeah.
clarifying statement that says this is a summary of, you know, the
Comments.
reflections or the comments.
Right,
from-
yeah, that would be helpful.
Okay,
Otherwise, I think your, the way you've changed it is a good, it's an improvement. You're
otherwise,
suggesting saying concerns about development pressure, zoning implications and rising property taxes. I think that's definitely an improvement for what's.
so it's not just standing there as a floating few words. that-
Yeah, yeah, no, I think it's good.
Context
I mean,
of it.
Otherwise, it's. I guess if it's not really saying, what's the point of having this section if it's only based on, you know?
Well, the point on some of this is that actually it's required by the state. They want to see, you know, a list of strengths and weaknesses
Yeah.
in that municipal. I found the information, but it is one of the things that well, maybe it's not the required one. It's a suggestion that strengths and weaknesses is an exercise you go through
Because
to.
I'm looking here, when it says strengths, weaknesses and opportunities of what? Is it of the town?
Right.
Okay,
That is right.
agriculture.
Of strengths, weaknesses and opportunities for
Related
agriculture
to agriculture.
or something, because otherwise,
Yeah, I can put more of a framing on that.
okay.
Good point. It is just floating. But it is it just was lifted out of the survey that we sent.
Right.
So that was that one.
It's almost like weaknesses should be vulnerabilities or something, when you talk like lack of profit or disconnect between farmers and the rest of the Caroline community and town board. That one actually caught my attention, because, I mean, what does that mean, really? What does disconnect really mean? But I can understand that somebody said that,
Mhm.
somebody probably said that,
Yeah.
but I just think that's pretty vague.
Yeah, that's the
And
trouble
it's-
when you just ask for a, I mean, the responses were short and
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
they weren't like, long. We didn't ask them to explain what they said.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think maybe changing the title a little bit, so it's a little more descriptive about what this really is, would be helpful.
yeah, and I do think what you said originally about emphasizing this, this is what, when we asked, this is what people said, because
Right,
like one thing, like lack of local purchasing by local residents, my own intuitive or observation or, sort of superficial observation is that there's a lot of support by the local community for local
As
agriculture.
someone who just made purchases from 2 different farmers this week.
Yeah, so-
I think there's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are members of CSAs and stuff, and that's reflected there, and
It's super, yeah.
and then at the same time, there's very little participation by farmers in the farmers market,
Yeah, I
at
know.
Brookendale, so.
it's hard when you don't make any money at it, you're not gonna go to a market after a while.
And then at the same, so then.
Yeah, but it goes back because then people don't go because there's really.
There's nobody there. and so
Nothing
they're
to
not
buy
gonna
or
local
it's,
stuff,
yeah,
right?
it's.
It's a difficult problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with a lot of farmers markets. Not uncommon. Yeah, I see where, I also see the sort of the context of this is put in, it needs to flow a little better, so. Okay, I got it.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Must be frustrating putting in all this work and then.
Yeah.
people are-
Okay, so then the next thing was a little, I don't know that it needs to be in there, but George had mentioned that there is a spelling for Onondaga that is
Oh.
instead of.
You're gonna have to figure that one, the squiggly line thing.
I don't.
Don't ask me.
Wait, where's
I'll
the-
have to find someone who
Oh, I
has a
see.
quickly line on their computer.
Yeah.
There's gotta be some way to.
Yeah, there, like the shift button, there is a setting on
Oh,
most
yeah.
computers where you
That
can,
must be it.
well, it's function key or something where you
Yeah.
press that and then it gives you a different. When you
Symbol.
press in, it'll give you the tilde or whatever.
I know how to get the
Or
key going, but.
in Macs, you just hold the key down, hold the letter down long enough and then all of the options show up.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, because you can do that.
Probably on Apple.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Maybe not on my whole computer. So then the next thing Matt had, I guess, mentioned to.
Me.
Matt mentioned, okay, anyhow, that his number of farms, which I swear he gave me the number to begin with, but anyhow.
Yeah.
That
I'm just,
his number of farms was,
Yeah.
he thought there were 50 or so in the 1960s. My data gap with what I have at Cooperative Extension, I don't have that information
Oh.
because the last time, when the ag district started, that's when we, in the mid-1970s, that's when we started to collect information on, the farms and the ag district, et cetera. But prior to the 70s,
I see.
I don't have good data because it was just available at a county level and.
so there were 16 in 1984.
But I believe that would be accurate based on the total number of farms and the trends in the county. So we'll believe Matt.
You can cite him.
I could quote him or something,
Yeah.
and then, but I do think let's see, where's the second number? By 1984, I think that number is correct based on, going through the ag
That
district.
sounds right. That's what I always remember.
Yeah, so anyhow, that's fixed. And solar, there was some talk about adding something about a recommendation that, you could modify the solar law and perhaps. But I just would say, without saying recommendation, I'm just suggesting we just add this statement that said further consideration of opportunities and incentives might be considered.
Great.
I think that's good.
And in fact, I was at an IDA meeting and they were talking about countywide doing incentives for they're doing incentives for, paying farmers or landowners more to protect prime ag land. If you want to put it, so if a solar company comes in and they, want to site on prime ag land, they would have to pay the property owner at a 30% higher than market rate, what their going rate. So that's kind of what the county is proposing. So I think it's worth it just to sit back and see what they propose countywide. You might not need to do
But
anything.
then I would worry that would incentivize.
I know.
Well,
Yeah,
they could they also include,
It might go the opposite way that you
Yeah.
want.
yeah,
But that's what the county is talking
they
about.
also
So
require that they.
There may be other ways to do it.
Crops underneath it.
yeah, they could require, yeah,
Yeah.
but.
If it's, I think it would be more helpful to have them required to grow crops underneath them.
yeah. Well, that's something the county is doing. It's, at the IDA level, they're proposing it.
So that county planning is working on that?
I don't know the extent to which county planning is directly involved because it's coming from Heather at Ithaca Area Economic
Oh,
Development.
okay,
But to the Tompkins County Development Board.
I see, okay.
But, and so that's why I didn't refer to that either. I just sort of said consideration
Right.
and made it a pretty weak.
I mean,
not direct.
that's weird that we haven't heard about this. It's kind of like what happened with we had another presentation from the city regarding development of 5 Mile Creek. And they were doing things about 5 Mile Creek. So I mean, this is the second time that we've heard of county or city-based plans that impact us that we've never been consulted about. That's not your business.
Okay.
Sorry, Mark. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a real problem, especially this one, that's large land base that they're considering messing with. But that that we don't know is ridiculous.
Yeah.
30%'s a lot of incentive.
Monica, in the text on this, under the page 29, replace current text with the following. So the zoning law was adopted on March 20th of 24. And the subdivision review law was adopted on September 18th. Looks like a typo, they got 28 in there, so,
I can't read when I'm.
yeah.
Well, in that section, there's one thing that looks like it's not a sentence, but that's being picky, I guess.
Where's that?
I don't
The-
have hearing aids in,
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
having difficulty.
The sentence that begins an assessment of the provisions, that doesn't seem like a complete sentence to me.
It's not.
It's not.
Is it supposed to be?
Could be. I might have, left one of those.
Okay.
Things. Let's see, where is it?
An assessment of the provisions of the above mentioned laws, along with review of the solar energy siting law contained in Appendix 1.
Oh,
I think a clause got
It just,
cut off or something.
so something's missing, or,
Second paragraph in the middle.
Yeah, so, yeah.
oh, there, okay, so I finally found it. Okay, so I gotta figure out what's supposed to go there. Oh, okay, what's supposed to go there is that the assessment of the laws, along with the zoning law, can be found in Appendix I.
Oh, okay, so just add to the,
And so if you want to read more, that's where you go.
Right,
Yes.
okay.
Essentially.
Well, anyway, I was just pointing out it wasn't a complete sentence.
And, oh, but that's confusing though too, because Appendix I is about the solar siting law, and then really Appendix K is the full assessment of the zoning laws.
So
So
something has
I need to fix
change.
that a bit, make it clearer. And this is one piece of what Ag and Markets does want in these. There's like 5 items, and this is one of the description of or identification of land use programs such as economic development, zoning, comprehensive land planning, which may be shown to complement and be consistent with the Ag and Farmland Protection Plan, or if there are policies that are inconsistent. And that's primarily as it relates to state ag district law. So the main review is really, are there things here that the ag district law might not, if you do the review again with Ag and Markets, which have been done, and they were to say something doesn't conform with ag district law, that might be some feedback you get from the state. But it is the plan shall include at least the following elements. And we've got everything else, and so we do need to leave Jonathan had said, well, maybe we strike the whole section, but not really.
which section is that?
The zoning, this is the summary, this page 29 just has a little bit of a summary. But in section, the Appendix K gives George's full document, which I do think finally, I did find his most recent
The last one is that?
review that did refer to the current, the adopted zoning law. So I think he did correct that from my look, but I
Yeah,
sent that to you.
I think he brought it to the meeting, and then I did ask him for it later, but I don't think I ever got it, so. And I don't,
Yeah,
I
well, I
lost my
sent,
hard copy, so if you have this a digital file. that you
yeah, I just sent, you didn't get it. Okay, I'll send it again.
Okay,
I can send it to
thank
everybody.
you, yeah, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah, because I would appreciate it, he's in China, and so I would appreciate it if you look at it, because, I can't, for the moment, I can't get any feedback.
yeah, I remember in the conversation when he was talking about the use table. And some uses that he thought were incompatible or might be
Yeah.
considered incompatible, but I can't remember what they were, and I can't find my notes on it.
But I also remember that we then subsequently addressed that in our deliberations.
In the
Yeah, I
zoning
don't
law.
think he did.
Really, so that, so it'd be
And
great.
in the most
Before we pass
current document, he doesn't mention that, so.
Question. So that first paragraph kind of gives an overview, and maybe I'm confused, but why don't we just take the rest of that and put it in an appendix? Rather than
Well,
putting it in the
you could have
document.
Something in the.
Well, I know that, I'm saying put the
appendix,
first paragraph, but then the rest in an appendix, because it's just,
Well, I have to work with
I see
my
what you're saying.
design a little bit, because I'm trying to replace text for text, so we don't have to do a lot of layout change.
yeah.
Well, wait, so,
I didn't count the words though, so I could go back and see if I
Can you
can
just
eliminate some.
sorry, can you just clarify, when you say replace current text with the following, which text? Are you
Page
talking-
29.
Are you talking about the entire, everything that comes after?
On
The
page
heading?
29, if you start right at the top.
Okay, so, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
so basically, yeah, everything that's on that page after the heading
Okay,
Would be on your,
would be
what you gave us.
replaced with this.
so, yeah, that's what I thought, I just want.
Yeah.
It seems all right.
Yeah,
And I did incorporate some of the comments from Nan Stolten.
Yeah, that was great.
Too.
Yeah,
great, thank you.
And that, her comments will also appear in that Appendix K, which is about zoning, so it'll be Appendix K1, George's summary, K2 will be Nan Summer.
Yeah, and sorry to, pound a 16 different nails into the same board, but I realized I was using it as a model for a recent seeker effort, but I realized when we did the seeker review for the zoning law, one of the explicit parts of seeker review is impact on agriculture. And so we have, that section is actually, it's like, it has a lot of what Nan put in that memo, but I think it's even cleaner and a nicer summary. I don't know if you want to add that to the whole mix or not, but I did send it in a subsequent email.
And I think also we should double check, because I don't remember how, if the state wants us to do seeker on this plan.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I'm not intending it, I'm just saying, it could be, I just thought it is documentation that we previously had about, that was informed with the input of a planner and actually a town attorney on the, impacts of zoning on agriculture.
It seems to me that that would be more useful in the plan than this, what's proposed here. Like referring to that as an appendix in the ag plan seems more useful than using lawyers' names and quotes of what they said, and it just doesn't seem.
Well, it's not that informative.
It's not informative, but it's also kind of like trying to explain something, like we're covering something up or we're trying to make it more than it is. And I feel like if you just do what the seeker law document that you sent shows, it's highlighted, that's ag related. And to me, it's objective. Rather than this, when you're quoting people, it just feels
He only quotes George Franz and
And Nan,
Nan Stolzberg.
right,
Yeah.
but still.
yeah,
It's not like that anywhere else in the document. The plan doesn't have any other quotes of any other professionals.
Well, I thought that she's quoting
No,
France because he was engaged
yeah,
by the committee
mhm.
to do an evaluation. And she's quoting Nan because Nan already prepared and presented these documents to the town board. So that's just my understanding. And in so doing, she references it, that all that stuff is in the appendix. So,
But doesn't it make more sense to just use the document that they're. Like, why have an individual rehash what's in an objective document? When someone could just see it in an appendix and read it and make an opinion for themselves.
Well, I like the idea of having it both in the document, like you have it, and then the appendix, if people want to go into more detail to see what if they feel
Or to
like
see where
something's
it
being
came
covered
from.
up, as you said, they can always, it's right there, and then they can go look at the appendix, so you've got both.
I mean, part of this, Monica is explaining the New York Farmland Protection Program focuses, it's explanatory. Which, yeah,
yeah, I mean, you guys know this stuff because you're on the town board, but the general public might not know.
I mean, Jonathan, the part that you want to include, how long is that?
I don't remember, is it 2 pages, 3
I mean,
pages?
that's a lot more than this, right? I thought we were trying to fit it in so that there wouldn't require a change in.
I'm not trying to put it in the main document, I'm trying to put it as, just to refer to it and
Well,
then
I
people.
mean,
can
I
look
don't
at it.
even know what it is, so I guess I'd have to look at it.
it's,
what
I
contains.
believe it was, seeker. It's the full environmental impact form, part 1. It was the narrative, I
Mhm.
believe, that was the one that,
We're talking about the one that's green highlighted, right?
can't remember. but,
Okay.
I guess I
Anyway.
could look at it and see what it contains. I
Yeah.
mean, that could be.
I mean, honestly, I think the Nan's memo has a lot of the same points in it. So like I said, I don't mean to be hammering 15 different nails into the same board, so if, you know, maybe it's just redundant, I don't know.
Or we can also say additional information can be found in the town, blah, 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 you know, so if it's listed somewhere else, I don't need to
Yeah,
Right.
include it in, if it's something they can find in a different town document, I don't have to
yeah, I don't think it is, so
Include it as an
the seeker
appendix.
forms are you know, those are archived by the town, they're for the town, so you know, it's not. Guess we could put it on the website, but it's not automatically there or normally there.
Yeah, I mean, you
Just
know,
take a look at it later.
yeah, I didn't want to, initially, I just pulled a couple of these things out of George's, you know, his longer document, because we didn't want to have the full, his summary, or not summary, whatever, his comments in the body to,
Mhm.
you know, shorten it a little, so I just tried to explain why and where these things, the why is New York State wants to see it.
Right,
You know, where they came from is a review process, so. Comments, so. Anyhow. So that was
Well,
my
thank you.
attempt at creating a summary without like putting the whole document back in the front of the text. Whatever your pleasure, I'll take a look at what you're talking about, Mark, and
okay, yeah, and I'm
see what.
just like, if you think it would be good as an additional
Yeah,
ancillary
well, at
document
least
in the
reference
appendix,
it.
fine, if not,
Okay.
um,
I'll find out. And I vaguely remember somewhere along the line, there has been discussion about when plans are submitted, they also have to have a seeker review done. So, but I'll find out for sure.
okay,
I know.
but not the ag plan, right?
Maybe so. I'll have to find out.
Okay, I thought,
mean, it's not-
thought we addressed that earlier, I thought we figured that out.
Maybe.
But, you know,
Maybe. Okay, well, so that was really what I addressed and, you know, the rest of it isn't, so there are a few other points, but they just refer to like fixes, you know, little.
Yeah.
Document fixes. So I don't know if that's where we're at. And
I agree with Michelle that your reworking on page 29 is nice, so.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your work.
all right,
You
okay.
put a lot more work into it. Thanks so much.
And especially since I'm not a zoning expert by any means, so I didn't want to start myself trying to summarize the zoning. I just wanted to explain where it came from.
Yeah, that was not our intent or
No,
anything,
yeah.
so,
Once upon a time, most of us here weren't.
You become an expert, yeah. right.
I-
Like
it's
me,
not even that long.
I don't even think I'm an expert.
So,
I'm becoming an expert on parking lots as we fix them.
yes,
Gravel.
that's a side conversation, hey, we have a code officer here and everything, so. So
So-
Monica sent the resolution. I told her I was uncomfortable putting that forward tonight, I felt like we should put that forward on the agenda for a meeting. I don't know, do people agree, or do you think we should?
Well, I think it should be announced on the agenda so that people know we're doing it,
Yeah, okay, good, so we're in agreement.
just out of respect for the committee.
So I was wondering if that from your.
Is there a
meeting-
deadline, Monica, that we have to do this?
No, not really. I
Okay.
mean, they say they want you to have it done in 2 years, but then when I talked to Jeff
They gave a big extension.
a long time ago, he said 3 years is the average.
We'll be able to do this in
Yeah.
very due speed.
We can do it at either of the January
Yeah.
meetings, probably.
Yeah, I know January 1st won't work for me because
And,
I can't come to that meeting. Not-
yeah, we're not gonna have a meeting on January 1st, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I saw that the date on the calendar was January 1st.
Is it on
Yeah.
there for the town
And
calendar?
I thought, yes. And
I'll be
so
bird watching,
I
So-
didn't think it was gonna be that date.
great. Probably, we're gonna have that meeting on the 6th, because of Tim's constraints. And we'll talk about it tonight and figure that out, and then.
But you can,
And then the business meeting is on January 20th, I believe, that'll be, so it could be either of those.
One question that I have is, are you okay with me proceeding to just clean this up a bit, get it to the designer so she can make the changes in the actual document? Or would you rather first see my edit and then I'll send it to the designer? My final edits.
It might be safer
Yeah.
It'd be safer.
to at least do like a proof.
I'll do another.
I mean, I think based on our discussion tonight,
Okay,
we're all good,
yeah, because
right?
there's some weirdo stuff in here.
But,
Okay.
if you wanna send it to us, we can give it a quick read and get back to you like in a
As
day
a
or something.
designer, it takes her, again, well, anyhow, whatever you think you need for the meeting where you approve the plans. Is, obviously you'll need the final document, and what has to be sent to the state is obviously the final
Mhm.
color copy document. Yeah, what they want is a letter. We do have approval from the Ag and Farmland Protection Board. I have a letter, your resolution, a paper colored copy of the plans and the executive summary, and then a digital copy of the plan as well as the appendices. So that's what I need to get together for the
Okay.
state.
The first thing was a paper colored copy?
Yeah, they want a paper, they want this colored copy, the fancy.
Oh,
Somebody in Albany has a cabal with the color ink companies.
Clearly. So that's the story.
Okay, that sounds great. That sounds like a good plan.
Okay, so I'll just keep plugging away. I'll send it to you, I don't know,
Great.
soon.
I guess,
But if you
when
could,
you have it ready to send to Jen, that's her name, right? Would that text be something we could review? And then, I think that's all we really care about. And then-
well, you won't have it, I'll send you the text that is gonna go to Jen, but
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
before it goes to Jen.
Okay,
And
that's
then, I won't send it to her until I hear back from you, but I would appreciate if that's like the first week of your first meeting in
absolutely.
January, and maybe we should just plan on the
I
second.
mean, I think that's something we can do not as an official
Yeah,
action. We
right.
can all just sign
Just
off
give
on
me
it.
feedback.
Yeah. So whenever you get it to us,
Okay.
we'll all review it and get.
Okay,
right
and then I
back to
can
you.
send it to her, and then, the fewer amount of jiggering that she has to do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The better, both in terms of cost and
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you driving out here tonight to join us.
Sorry.
Safely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, thank you for your input,
Yeah,
and we'll
Thanks
see
for
you
your-
again
diligent work.
next time, next year.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your work.
Next year.
That's right. It's,
And what we really look forward
I'm
to
glad
is.
to retire from this too. Trying to get
Your fifth retirement?
my fifth retirement, yeah, you're right.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks,
see.
Monica.
All right, see you
Bye.
guys.
All right, thanks, Monica.
Good night.
Night.
Have a good holiday.
All right. Here we go. Great, so, the next thing I would like to do is move to so everybody's met Bob now, right? So that's great. So, and Bob was kind enough to join us tonight just because
What else will you do?
he didn't have
Not like
anything else to
tonight?
do. Yeah, so, anyway, so, do you want to offer us, your report?
I don't know, I'm not sure I have all complete sentences.
Well, we'll check
There's
on
not much to it. Just,
I can't help it, I was an English major.
we had 74 building permits this year. And there, I think, 4 subdivisions being considered. One of them is the solar project.
That has a subdivision with.
Yeah. So, and this is my 4th week, so I can't take credit for all those building permits. But while I've been here, I've done some inspections and issued a few permits and met some great people and trying to get that office all organized, so.
Which we appreciate.
Yeah.
So Bob is in most of the day on Tuesdays and Wednesdays are his regular days. And he's plowing away at it, getting his feet under him,
Well,
so.
the guy down the hall from me works all day, then he comes to these meetings at night. Hard act to follow.
So yeah, and actually, yeah, so you're the zoning officer in Aurora, right?
Right, and Union Springs.
And Union
I
Springs.
do those two on Mondays and Thursdays. Union
Okay.
Springs in the morning and Aurora in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
And I live halfway between here and there, so it's a
Okay.
40-minute commute on
So you've got Fridays
2
free?
days. And Fridays are supposed to be free, but I probably will be down here a
Oh,
lot
okay.
on Fridays.
Great.
It's a lot of work. There are a lot of safety inspections, a whole list I just discovered today of public or commercial buildings that need safety inspections.
Hmm.
And that's just, it's time consuming to go through them and then write the reports up and then touch back with the companies and make sure, if there was something blocking an exit, okay, come back and check that it's been cleared, that kind of thing. So
great.
I
That's
think it's
great.
gonna soak up the time.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the list, see if I
Yeah.
know them all or I don't,
I think it's something Jesse ran off a while
Okay.
back, so
Okay, cool,
it's pretty complete.
yeah.
Well, I don't think you have enough to do, so
Yeah.
we'll try to think of something else.
Something else, yeah.
I did find a spelling error.
Uh-oh.
It says asters instead of acres.
What was,
Asters instead of acres.
I always have a hard
Third
time.
sentence.
I'm dyslexic and some of those words really. Right. Can't get mine.
Well, I mean, this isn't official. We
I
won't
guess
be
it's
voting
acres
on this or
instead of
anything,
acres.
so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I've never seen HVAC separated out as renewable and non-renewable. What's
because-
the difference?
I guess if you have solar, that's a renewable system. And a lot of these, as technology changes, we have to look at how we classify things.
So like hot water renewable is solar or
If-
electric?
If you have a heating, a heat pump that runs off of solar, I think that's what they
Oh.
intended for that.
Huh.
And
Hmm.
that's produced by of course, the software we have now. And very soon, we're going to have a whole new software application. So I get to learn that one too.
So that was in the Edmunds system,
Right,
that distinction.
right.
Okay.
And that might have been something that somebody set up.
Okay,
I think that's probably something someone here set up. in the
okay,
past.
that was my question, whether that came from the
Whether it's
state.
renewable or, yeah, I think it's.
Okay,
So for the monthly reports going forward, Bob, are we gonna be able to have that'll have more details regarding the project?
Yeah, I don't know what the software will produce, and let me know what you want to
Okay,
know.
we can talk about it.
And, yeah, I know I can tweak it.
Good, yeah.
yeah, we have, so I can dig up, so we have Kevin's old reports, which we could use as a point of information, and then I had noticed, I mentioned this to Bob today, that Steve Courtwright, the Danby Code Officer, I have to look back at it, but I did find one of his reports online one day and thought, this is pretty nice.
Yeah,
So we can,
yeah, we can talk about it and just figure it out. So that it won't be time consuming and just plug and play.
And over time, I'm sure the new software will allow me to tweak what the reports
Right,
do, so
Right.
maybe that'll make it a little easier.
great.
We need challenges.
yeah. And so, Bob is also, so I mean, yeah, so as the zoning officer, Bob is sort of instrumental in, stacking stuff up in advance for the review board. So we're working to get that process in place so that, things run smoothly. there, so.
Yeah, that's my goal. If my notes are really good, then the meetings are a lot shorter and, you know, it's less pressure on the people on the boards.
That's great.
That's great.
Great. Well, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, and yeah, I really,
I can go home to my family now.
Mhm.
yeah. Go home.
Yeah.
Be safe on the road.
Yeah, be safe.
The most tricky spot if you're going over Irish Settlement
No, yeah.
is going down the hill, down to Ferguson Road at the
Mhm.
bottom. In the middle of that flat, there's traditionally an icy patch, which is
I'm
underneath,
gonna be going pretty slowly tonight.
but just
You're going in the low.
future,
I'm going up Midland.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I go to 13.
No, I don't.
Wait.
I go there too often.
But if you drive
When
fast,
there's snow, I'm
My head
saying.
will be dry.
Yeah.
if you drive fast, it's an advantage because you have less time on the road.
Oh, yeah. Perks, right?
See ya.
Good night.
Good night, Bob. Thank you.
My friend in college who felt that way.
Okay. Great, okay. So I'll do my report now. Put together earlier today, so Bob and I did attend the Stormwater Coalition meeting, which was helpful. So Angel Heineckel, that's one of the ones she leads that. And sounds like folks are just, the focus now is developing the protocols and everything for these new MS4 requirements from the Department of Environmental Conservation. We are an MS4 community because Brooktondale basically is classified by the DEC as an urbanized area near a drinking water source, the 6 Mile Creek. So if you look at the MS4 map, that's what, like Danby doesn't have to do this at all because they don't have any waters like this. So we are in the Stormwater Coalition for this reason. The really nice thing is that Soil and Water does take the lead for this process. And so by the next meeting, I think she's already started it, but anyway, we have a stormwater management plan. It's on the town website on the Watershed Committee's page. But now we're gonna update it and get it current. So.
Does that have anything to do? So I received a notice in the mail a few weeks ago saying that I was eligible to apply for a grant and get state funding to match if I wanted to replace my septic because I was near 6 Mile Creek. Did anybody else? Did you get one of those? No, too. Anyway, of course I was like, I don't know if I need to replace my septic, you know, but I'll show it to you.
But are you gonna do it?
I don't know anything about septic. Don told me to call the health department and find out like how old my septic is and try to figure out if it's healthy.
We know that your septic is at least 43 years old
Okay,
and most likely more than 45.
so,
I can assure you that it's more than 45 years old
okay.
How do you know that?
because I once lived in that house.
Oh.
And my friends for whom I was house sitting lived in that house for 2 years before that.
And then you bought it at that point, or was there someone in
No, there's
There
between?
was somebody in between. Yeah,
Did they redo it?
yeah, I think it was done in,
I mean, I just think this sounds
No, I
like,
don't think so.
I think it was done in the early 80s or 70s.
Too bad.
So there are two
Too bad
septics
they,
in
Too
there.
bad Lynn's not still alive.
Sorry?
Too bad Lynn is not still alive.
No, I know, he would know.
well, I mean, you should jump on it, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it, yeah, but I'm like,
I mean,
Yeah.
one reason, if you didn't know, I don't know if it's the same in New York, but in Massachusetts, if it's a failing septic and you go to resell your home, you have to replace it
Right.
right,
before you can sell it. So
Right.
that would be important.
so that would be
to-
important, so, yeah.
If you can get the grant now.
It's up to 15,000 in matching funds.
That's
So,
great.
anyway, so, I just thought maybe it's got something to do with the fact that the Brookendale's in that area. I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
Okay,
Yeah, cause you don't want them leaching into the 6 Mile
would
Creek.
make sense.
I
Septic,
think you are in the quote urbanized area.
I'm the urbanized
you're
area.
urbanized.
Yeah,
Sorry.
downtown Brookendale. Okay,
We are planning, just, been in contact with XGO recently to I feel like we're overdue to provide some clarity for the community about where this project's going. And so they have finished the scoping study, but that's not and it has been, quote, approved by NYSERDA. But that does not mean that NYSERDA has funded the project or anything like that. So the next stage, according to Carter, is that they would do a feasibility study, which I think would be, then I guess they've established that it would work here under these
I
circumstances.
thought that's what they were doing.
Well, I
yeah,
always
that
think
is
these things
feasibility,
do.
isn't it, if it'll work or not?
But this is very reminiscent of the trail, right? So, so the next stage would be, like, I believe, a design plan with costs and everything, so.
And that would be a different grant.
Yes, would be a different grant that we would have to
Okay.
get, so.
What's this geothermal project? I hadn't heard of it before.
This is the thermal network in Speedsville that it's been going on over a year, so. It started small, we had $5,000 from another clean energy community action. Talked to the community center there about putting in air source heat pumps for their building, because they were shuttering it and draining the pipes in the winter. And I'm trying to remember, but somehow it morphed, I got connected with a couple other people. With EggGeo. And I was like, well, we could do that, or we could apply the 5,000 to this scoping study to do a thermal energy network that would allow, it's basically a ground loop that anybody can tap into in the community. So
Really?
it would be geothermal for everybody in the hamlet of Speedsville.
Wow, how does that work?
Well, that's what we're.
That's a lot of pipe.
It's not, I mean, they're attracted to this. Egg was really attracted to the area because it doesn't have gas supply.
And that was part of the grant requirement, they couldn't have natural gas supply.
And the geography is very conducive to putting in a loop, because it's, if you know Speedsville, it's got a central.
That's Central Park
Yeah.
around that.
Yeah.
And so the
Okay.
idea would be to have a loop there and spokes going out a little ways on each of the thoroughfares that come through there.
And so then they would have to electrify those buildings for their heat systems. So each house would have to have a new system put in to tap into that loop.
That's correct.
Okay.
They would have to, each house would be modified uniquely, because they're all different, and they would all need envelope upgrades, almost certainly. So this is an ambitious grant.
Project.
But there's some community members that are excited about it.
Yeah.
It's not just us.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We've had at least 2 public meetings there that were advertised and fairly well attended. And 2 of the people that are working with me are residents of the hamlet there, and one of them is Aaron DeBolt. He recently joined EIC. So he works in the HVAC field.
Sweet.
So he's been a tremendous help.
And the primary incentive that has made this so interesting to the community is that the fact that the study revealed that this would result in, what was it, $6,000 energy reduction per year per household,
Right,
something very substantial.
And they're on propane or oil or coal
Yeah.
now?
Correct. Oh,
Sweet. It's like 10 houses or something?
oh no, 30.
30 houses, wow.
30 houses, plus the Speedsville store, plus the fire station,
the community center.
and the community
The church.
center, the church. The church is interesting because can't remember how they basically heat it on Sunday and then it's shuttered the rest of the time. So it's not like this project is gonna make a dramatic
Okay,
difference in the energy use.
they don't turn the heat on anyway, but you
Yeah.
got
Well,
on.
maybe they can use the space for more things.
Yeah,
more often.
and that's
Right.
what the community center has done, so.
So it seems to me that that's kind of doesn't seem like there's a lot of those in New York. Is it
No.
kind of
This would be new.
like a first time?
Well, that's why Egg is excited, because if this works, then it's applicable in other rural places in New York State that don't have gas, and even if they do have.
So kind of like a demonstration
Yeah.
opportunity for.
Yep.
Wonder if the town has talked about at all about could attract people to come see it.
Yeah, or
It's
buy
like-
a house there.
It's like instead of agritourism, it's ecotourism or something.
Yeah. Development, eco-development for us.
Eco develops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Yep. So keep your eyes open for that, because we are hoping to do that in early January, and I think, yeah, it'll be good. Working with Susan and Steve on the RFP for design and construction services for the Old Town Hall restoration project, and so that's exciting.
Mhm.
We're hoping to release that RFP right after the first of the year. And then,
So that will describe exactly what you want done,
no,
no?
the RFP is for an architectural firm
Okay,
to provide the design and construction, sort of like we were doing, sort of like the Highway Barn project. So this firm would, we and Steve in particular has developed sort of a laundry list of things that need to be considered for this town and priorities, so they would look at it, look at our grant, how much money we're willing to expend, and develop a design proposal that ultimately we would approve. As I understand it, we would approve, and then they would put out bids for construction services
Okay.
from other companies. So I don't, at this point, we've kind of had some, anyway, we're getting it worked out, but with, it's probably gonna be 2026 when the construction happens. Probably not gonna happen in 25.
Okay,
The next step's important, is getting a really good firm.
Yeah.
But I have to thank our lucky stars that we have Susan Holland helping us with this, who knows everybody in this field and is extremely well-connected and knows
we're
what
really
she's
lucky
doing.
in this community to have such
Yeah.
knowledge on so many different things.
So update you a bit on the broadband project, which is moving right along, permitting. Money, we are paying for permits quite rapidly now, as you might have noticed.
Mhm.
We did,
I had to sign lots of papers.
yeah. So we spent out, we've been out our ARPA recovery funds from the county, and now we're spending our own ARPA funds.
Do we know, I just haven't asked this before, but do we know where that stands percentage wise? In other words, how much we've spent in terms of how much we anticipate to need to spend for permits?
You mean money from our
Yeah.
account?
In other words, we know what we've spent. How much more
Right.
do we
I
expect
don't
to
know
spend?
I don't know for permits. I don't
Because I
have that
think-
information, but,
I think we need to know that kind of stuff.
well, here's the thing. So once we reach our ARPA limit, then it's paid for by the grant.
Right.
So then it's just gonna be a reimbursement process. So very soon, we have to have the bond resolution
Right,
done
right.
and get the bonding in place, and then we'll be good to get that process going.
I mean, it still would be good for us to have a reporting system in place so that we know
We're gonna have that.
what to expect,
So-
regardless of who's paying for it, regardless of which piece of the pie is paying for it. You hear what I'm just asking? And I realize this is all moved quickly, but what we've
We'll get those
learned,
numbers.
what we're recently now discussing are the management practices for this that aren't yet in place.
So Amanda Anderson, who's the bookkeeper there, and is on top of it, she's said she's very happy to provide us monthly reports. So is that what you're thinking of?
Well, yes, but it would be nice to know, I mean, is there a projected figure for permits?
Why is that important?
So we haven't overspent.
So-
Informational, so we know where we are on the scale of projected budgets for the project. So let's say permitting ends up being, which it won't be, but what if it ended up being $4 million and the rest of the project cost $6 million? See what I'm just asking? I mean, just.
So
first,
so actually, I can provide you, I can't remember the name of it, but I should provide you the original document when we got the grant.
Right.
So that has,
I remember.
it has the information in
No, I
it.
remember, I'm just,
Okay, that's where it is. We have that.
okay, but Yeah.
It's still, I mean, it's, so every week
Has
there's a
that
meeting.
changed? You're asking if
yeah,
that's
I'm
changed?
just worried if the
Yeah.
numbers have changed. I mean, they could have well have changed.
Every week there's a meeting with the MIP people from New York and Dryden and the engineers and us. I missed the last two though. Where they go over like what money's being spent, how it's being spent, are we on target, have we gone over?
I think
So it's,
it would be nice
mhm.
if somehow that could be shared with the board on a regular basis.
Okay.
Just so we're all conscious.
Sure.
I mean, unless there's some reason that it needs to be held confidential, but it doesn't sound
Yeah,
like it.
no, I think that's fine. It's,
Cause you guys are technically like a part of you're
we're attending as Caroline.
your liaisons
Yeah,
to.
Right.
Right, and so when you report
That's-
back, then having some data on the
Yeah.
budget makes sense.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make more work, I think.
Yeah,
as
we can share the
as
information.
things move along, we all wanna be on the same page.
yeah, no, that's good. We can share that, so.
I mean, no, I think that's fine. I mean, I'm excited, it's moving along. I mean, we can't really see it yet, but it is actually moving along with the permits, it's
We see
pretty
the
steady. Huh?
Yeah, we've seen the bills.
Okay, yeah, you've seen the bills, right, yeah, so,
And-
but it's on target for, I mean, there was one little hiccup where. You know, there was permit application, was it, and it got, I don't know, it got stalled for some reason, and they fixed it, I mean, but it's,
So they're gonna be stalled, they're gonna be things
Yeah,
like
little
that.
things like that happen all the time.
Questions about that cost though, so a permit is, paying for a permit is one thing, but. Then it allows them to do something. And does that mean that thing is already done, or does it mean now it has to get done? So it could wait,
It gives them permission to do it.
but that could be another 6 months from now, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna get done now.
Right.
that is what they're trying to do, is line the different groups up, how long
Yeah,
the permit
alright.
application. and
Let's get all the permits in place before they can do
Right,
that.
So that's good, that would be good for reporting too,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, because it's one thing to pay for something, it's another thing to know if it ever gets done.
Right,
Well, that's what we're tracking in these meetings.
Right.
And that's what, is the core concern, because we're told December 31st, 26, this has to be done.
and I agree with the summary idea, but you are all welcome to sit in on these meetings. Every Tuesday. No. So. Go to another
That
meeting.
open meetings law, is that even possible?
I don't know,
We could
that,
have, we could have
I'm
the
not
town
sure.
board, they could just be,
I think that could be problematical.
Yeah,
you think?
I'm fine if you just want to give us a summary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's fine. All we
We'll,
need
we'll
is-
figure out a way.
It's important to put it in the minutes anyway.
I mean,
You don't
I
need to
mean-
use complete sentence, but you.
I mean, it just, yeah, we,
so, yeah, I'll check with them. So they send out, so it's, the Dryden team sends out it's an Excel spreadsheet, that is, very detailed, and has a lot of
very
information.
detailed,
in it.
there's a lot
So
of discussion about the
I
detail.
don't see
So.
any reason that couldn't be shared. I'll have to see.
Or it could be accessed in the office. Doesn't have to be sent around, it could just be accessed manually, physically in the office,
Okay.
for simplicity's sake. I mean, I can see not wanting necessarily to have something like that distributed widely. because
Yeah,
people
I sort of,
understand what it is.
yeah, exactly. I
But
feel some
still,
concerns about that.
yeah, well, then just have it accessible in the office.
Because these are internal
Right, right,
deliberations
Yeah.
with a contractor.
right, I agree.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
the other thing is that, there's a grant disbursement agreement that Dryden needs to sign. We will be signing with that, the quote unquote guarantee document, which guarantees our responsibilities. And then there's an intermunicipal agreement, so those things are being worked on, and so I hope to have those to you soon, and the sooner the better, but Tim and I have had a discussion about this, so yeah, I'd hope to have them by tonight, but I think some more time is needed, so I'll check with the Dryden team and we'll move accordingly. So, the other thing is that, as part of the agreement, we're gonna have, 2 seats for Caroline representatives. So we should be thinking about good candidates for
what,
that,
on the Dryden Fiber, what do you mean?
on the Dryden Fiber Board.
Okay.
Yeah. All good with that?
Yeah.
It's moving quick. I attended the meeting that we talked about last time that Beth's been holding on December 9th. It was a pretty short meeting about community disaster preparedness. And I actually met one of the attendees. I have the card still.
And is community disaster preparedness different than emergency management planning? Or is one within the other, like a nesting doll?
No, I don't think so. So I don't know, so there's the one thing which would be for a municipality and, what's the chain of command, how does communication happen and all that. This is more talking about developing ways that we as a community can support each other, when there's and the thing that came up at the meeting was like, if there's a big flood, do we know who needs the most help right away? Someone who's in a wheelchair or something like that. So I think that's what the thinking was. So I met someone from New York State Caregiving and Respite Coalition. She was at the meeting, so interested in.
So would the idea then be to do an index, a town index of vulnerable,
I would think so,
People
something like that.
are-
I think that's what
yeah,
the idea is. I know Will Lawrence talked about this a long time ago, having like neighborhood hubs.
Mm-hmm.
So that you could, when something happens, the neighborhood could respond to help vulnerable.
right,
I think that's the whole idea,
that's a
so.
good idea, yeah.
But it was a very brief meeting. Beth wrote something up for the newsletter, I'll share it with you guys so you can read it and get a better sense of what she's thinking about, so. I didn't write it down, but there's a meeting in early January, next meeting, so right across the street. And the last item is a very interesting one that I met with the insurance guy and we, yeah. Went through checked all the boxes and he let me know that the Comp Alliance is offering a 3-year fixed rate, so I thought that would be a good thing to do. And he thought if the rates dropped dramatically from what we originally get, that we could probably negotiate with them.
Did they ever drop? I'd be
They're not gonna drop
surprised.
it.
Well,
They're not gonna drop
the-
anytime
yeah, they
soon.
do, so they've been dropping, yeah,
Yeah.
for the workers' comp.
Coalition, because when it gets bigger, they drop, right?
What's that?
If it gets bigger, they drop.
Maybe, yeah, and it's, yeah, managing risks and, I mean, I've been surprised since I came on that the workers' comp numbers, they don't go up like health insurance or property insurance. So, yeah, that's good. I think I looked at the total for the quote they sent was around 45,000 a year, and a couple of years ago it was 50, so.
Hmm.
That's good news in my opinion. That's my report. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Jesse, do you have a report? Are you still awake?
Yep, hi, I'll just go through the November revenues.
Okay,
So we sold 8 hunting licenses, 1 marriage license, 20 dog renewal notices, 6 building permits, and 1 marriage transcript. And the total revenues for November was $1,730.50. And I gave Mark money on December 9th, covered local shares, $750.50. This week I've been working on tax collection. So tax bills were printed on Monday and they're being mailed tomorrow. I have an appointment with our software to get installation of tax bills. They're actually being installed tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So everything should be up and running by end of day tomorrow. And of course, collection begins on the 1st, so people can't pay before that. But because the holiday falling on a Wednesday this year, they're getting sent out a little early just so people don't get them late. So
Just in time for the
so
holidays.
Merry Christmas. Your tax bills will be here first.
Usually it's a Happy New Year.
And that's
You
my
think-
report.
do you think a lot of people will contact you before the end of the year?
I was worried that there might be some confusion because people don't typically get them until they usually don't get mailed till like, the 27th. So people aren't used to seeing them quite so early, but I sort of worried that people might think that that means they can pay early, like we've done once or twice in the past when that was allowed. I think it was in 2018 when the governor let people do that a week early or whatever it was. But anyway, I figured it would, most people read their bills and know when they're due, and I didn't want people to get them late and then getting worried that they're not coming or we're lost in the mail or whatever. This just gives people a little extra time. So
Yeah. Sounds good. Any other questions for Jesse? Great.
Thank you.
thank you.
Yep, thanks, Jesse. And I don't have it on here, but any committee updates people want to offer?
Do you want to talk about the planning board, that document that they sent to everybody?
let's see, I put that on, I put that on the agenda for the second item, so the
Okay,
adult uses thing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so that would, I guess, so the only
that's
thing I
coming
would,
right up, but, so we can talk about it now if you want.
um. Well, I guess the only thing I would add to that is that, they are still talking about changing the name of the law to, because now it is adult uses law.
That's what I put in here, what I saw, yeah,
Okay.
on the old law, so.
Yeah,
And I knew you had mentioned that.
and they're working on some of the definitions and, you know, some of them they're discarding, like. There's a definition for, an adult theater, like whether that would be.
Hmm,
You know,
yeah,
I mean, this law is 25 years old, so there's a lot of stuff in there
it
that's.
is, it's a little dusty, huh?
Yeah, there's stuff that's, you know,
Well,
anyway, so I guess that's the only thing I would say, and,
Great.
the next meeting's in January.
Ag committee? We had a really great potluck at Caleb Scott's compound in their beautiful lodge. Who, have you all been in there yet? It's
Is that
quite
their
stunning.
Their glamping thing, or? Is it
I
something-
guess you could call it glamping, but this lodge is more for like high-end weddings.
Oh,
It's like big, like almost 2.5 stories tall barn thing. Anyway, it's a beautiful facility. I don't know if you know, Caleb Scott has a very, very thriving, large agrivoltaic business
mhm.
where he runs animals under solar all over the United States, which I didn't know.
Really?
And he was very excited that we were considering looking at the agrivoltaic law in the town. And he actually is now consulting all over the United States on updating solar laws to help them be more ag friendly. And he's willing to have us consider new language based on his experience. So he would totally either submit simple language that we can put in the law or come and have a conversation with us about that. But it seems to me it's very simple. It's not like very complex language that he's suggesting people add. So that was kind of neat.
But it's all just with animals, right? It's not,
Yeah, I think so.
Well, he's working with animals, but I'm wondering, I don't know, I didn't talk to him specifically about if his what he's recommending municipalities is only for animals. It could just be more general about how to encourage ag development with solar development beyond just animals. Because it is a bigger thing. It's not just animals globally. It's tons of different things you can do with solar beyond just animals.
yeah, but I mean, what he does is.
What he does, but the laws that he might help us do is not
Correct.
necessarily just for animals.
Well, I thought of him after our last meeting, when you mentioned agrivoltaics and Guillermo. I
Mhm.
thought, well, maybe both of them would wanna do an event or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess one question at this stage is whether we need to have something in the law itself, or whether whether the planning board works with the current applicants to encourage them to go in that direction. Because we're not gonna get something in the law
Oh, for this one, I
for
don't
this
think.
one anyway.
No.
You know, but I do think it would be worthwhile for the planning board to continue to encourage them to be flexible in this regard, which I think they are. I think they're.
And you mean review board, right?
The review board, sorry.
I was gonna say, I
Sorry,
don't think the
sorry,
planning
sorry.
board doesn't. yeah.
No, sorry, my slip.
It's okay.
Mhm.
But I was actually gonna say, you know, I would actually, I don't know what all would be. Is under consideration, but depending on that, it might be good, something good to point to the planning board.
Yeah.
For
Tweaking.
their recommendations, yeah. I think that'd be cool.
So I don't know which body tells which body what to do, but
We tell everybody what to do. Which is true.
in terms of if there anyone, whether it's Guillermo or Caleb, came to a meeting which meeting and,
I would think the planning board, right?
Mhm.
Would be
Well,
most
or-
efficient, would be most efficient.
I think the planning board would be great.
to just get it on their agenda.
Yeah, or we could just say that we're gonna have a special event and invite everybody, invite all of our boards or however.
But if we have them address the planning board, then we'll know the planning board will be there.
That's true.
So maybe I'll talk to Guillermo first and just say, hey, cause me and him had a chat, he'd like to be involved with this, cause he's
Yeah.
doing more and more that
I'm
with
sure he knows
with
Caleb.
municipalities. And he wants to learn about this, and if we're like the first town that he works with regarding updating or improving solar laws,
Solar siting law.
then he can take that information to the next town that he
Mhm.
wants to meet with him, and so.
So then it sounds like you'd want to talk to Bill Paducah, right? Because he's
Planning board chair.
planning board chair and he worked on the solar siting law and,
He wrote it.
yeah.
No, I will, that's fine, Bill, that's good, but I think just to see if Guillermo is willing to
Mm-hmm.
come to a planning meeting,
Right.
and then I guess then Bill is the next person.
Then, yeah, you'd have to put him on the agenda and stuff.
Yep, great. I think that's it.
Okay. Are you gonna talk to those players? Great, thank you.
More of that pen.
Great. Need a pen?
Yeah.
So let's see, I did bring a copy, email I put this simple. This. So. And the resolution. Right. Or of this. Should we do? For a meeting?
Hey, Mark, can you wiggle the cable there? Your microphone's all wonky.
Might-
I'm losing sound. I can only hear like every other word you're saying.
Was that it?
No.
I hate. Consistently.
Yeah, it's pretty consistently cutting out now. I can't really hear you.
Okay.
This is.
We should. In,
Okay,
Oh. We've done before,
sometimes,
the meeting so that makes.
so good.
that cut the Zoom, or what did that do?
Jesse still there?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh,
Does that sound better?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Good.
There's a cable malfunction.
Oh, I think it was on the wrong microphone. Yikes.
I mean,
Okay.
I heard you fine all meeting until just the last couple of minutes. Now I can hear you fine, so.
Okay, great. Great, thanks for letting us know. Okay.
Not me.
So let's see. Shall we set the public hearing for the first meeting in January? That would be
The
the
question is
organization.
if we have enough time.
Yeah, let's.
Go for the business meeting.
let's
we
do it
have
for the
ag
business
plan?
meeting.
Yeah.
So we'll set the public hearing for the January business meeting, which, if my memory is correct, is January 20th.
Do I second that?
Okay,
January 22nd.
is the business meeting?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the Wednesday.
okay, January 22nd,
Well,
excuse
it's
me.
2 weeks after the 8th. So it's really
It's the third,
it's still the third.
it's the third Wednesday, right?
Yeah, it's still the
Okay.
third Wednesday, yeah.
So, that will be January 22nd at 7 PM at the town hall.
It's actually the fourth Wednesday, but that's just because the first is on a Wednesday.
Oh,
Look, there's basically
Wait.
5 weeks in January.
oh, that changes things. Well, but then we won't meet that one, so yeah, we're gonna treat, for January, let's treat,
We could do them back to back.
we'll treat the second week as the first week. So, first question, are we gonna meet on the 6th of January, which is a Monday, for the first meeting of the year? Is that okay with people?
Okay, why are we doing that?
Because I will be out of town on the 8th,
I see.
Okay.
if possible, because it's just kind of a crucial business meeting. Boring, but crucial.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah, I don't have anything. So,
okay, so, the first
Okay with
resolution.
you, Jonathan?
Let me just, I think so. We're good, coming back from yeah, I'm around.
You
So
look good.
what's that date, Mark? That Monday,
6th.
the 6th. Okay, thank you.
6th of January, so we'll meet at 7 PM. So that's the first resolution I'll offer, to set our organizational meeting for the 6th of January at 7 PM at the town hall.
Second.
Seconded by Tim. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So that's set. And then, can I see your calendar again?
Yeah.
Tim? Great, thanks. Yeah, so, I'm just worried that's gonna confuse the public. Would it be terrible to then have our business meeting on the 15th?
No,
Is that okay with folks?
we used to do that
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, I did too, then we'll be back on calendar.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll get back on the calendar, so now I'm gonna re-offer, or, never mind what I said before. Offer resolution to set a public hearing on the cannabis opt-in local law for, January 15th at 7 PM at the town hall.
I'll second that.
Second by Kate. And any further discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Great. And that will be followed by the January business meeting, so that's great. Great, thank you, that's good, I'm glad that works out well.
Yeah.
And now, now I will open discussion on the, adult uses or entertainment law as. Let's see, I think I made a copy of Bill's thing. Here we are, I have. Yeah, it's pretty, it's what Michelle summarized before to us as the options.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Michelle?
I guess, I'm kind of inclined to go for the first option, just leave it and see if there's a demand for
This is an entertainment law?
it.
Yeah, leave it.
And if there was ever a need, someone could go to the ZBA
Yeah,
to seek an appeal of the zoning law.
Okay,
And the ZBA could then make that decision.
okay,
Yep.
okay, this is gonna be like the shortest discussion in board history.
What do you
We've
think?
discussed it.
I think that's fine,
Yeah,
I think that's fine.
And there's not a case where someone could start by suing us.
No, they had,
No.
they wouldn't be able
No,
to
they
do it
would-
until the end.
It would be, my understanding is it would be in Article 78, and then, yeah, that's all. No, and the ZBA thing is correct. Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay.
I mean, it well could be that the ZBA could take care of something like that.
Yeah.
That's why we have.
And I just want to acknowledge, how much I admire Bill for
Yeah.
that memo he sent to us.
That was quite extensive.
yeah. Takes a lot of work.
Yeah, very organized.
Do you have at all a sense of which direction planning board would lean, or do they really want us to call the shot in advance?
I imagine they've had all the angst that through, I don't know, go ahead.
No, I don't think there's been a whole lot of discussion. I mean, I don't remember a whole lot of discussion on it. I think it's, and I think maybe the sense of people that have voiced an opinion would be the first option,
Really interesting.
to just leave it. I think the thing of changing, it's not very appealing to change the zone, to change where it's allowed,
It's
because
very not appealing.
there's a lot of reasons to not have it in other zones.
Yeah,
And so that seems to me that that's come across, and likewise, the changing the, distances.
Can I ask a question about this in the document that Bill presented us? There was an attached map.
Yeah,
I think he made that.
I think he made that. I think I had seen that map before
yeah,
during the zoning commission,
yeah,
which was extending the commercial zone. I think that's what that is. Is that
oh,
what that
I didn't look
is?
at the
There were
map.
two different colors and they were all right there.
Yeah,
The only reason I could think of for him to have done that is as one of the options would be to extend the commercial district. But the map that he has is overlaid onto a neighborhood, so
yeah,
for me, that would be a non-starter right
Right.
away anyway.
yeah, so I think actually the simplest thing is, the first option, just because the whole adult entertainment thing just isn't, there's so many options now for adult entertainment has changed so much that it's,
It's a terrible business proposition, just
Yeah.
like, why would you ever want to do that? I don't see how it could be profitable.
yeah, and there's just, anyway. There's just other options now, so,
Okay, and they're gonna change the name to adult
Yeah.
entertainment and put definitions of what they mean in there, right?
I'm not 100%, they haven't decided on
Okay.
the name, but Bill is suggesting adult entertainment.
So can I just ask a conceptual question?
Mhm.
If the major issue with the law as it now stands
Mhm.
is its incompatibility, its potential incompatibility with the zoning law, do we need to change the law at all?
Well, there's a
I
lot,
mean, do we need
there's,
to go through the hoops to do that?
there's a bunch of outdated definitions and stuff that they wanna change.
Okay,
It's a good question.
I'm just thinking of the kerfuffles,
Sleeping dogs.
yeah.
And you wanna change the name because adult use would include, nowadays, people think of this including cannabis.
So we have that defined.
We have that defined.
yeah.
Yeah, so mainly.
You hear what I'm just asking?
Yeah, they mainly want, so I don't know what this, they mainly wanna change definitions. So.
Well, maybe you can run this kind of
To not change it
deliberation
at all,
by them. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
Sometimes doing no work is better than doing work.
could you change definitions without changing the law or no?
No,
Okay,
that's a change.
alright,
And they can do that if they want.
Alright.
So, I think it's recommended, so.
alright. I mean, apparently Ithaca law is just as old as ours. And
Right,
there's-
they're all old, yeah,
Yeah, and there's no move to.
yes, exactly,
Change that.
Yeah,
which, shouts Tim's question
Mhm,
again,
mhm. So I can,
transfer the.
you change the law and we could be inviting people to imagine ways to use the law.
yeah,
Okay, very good.
so do you want me to send that to him in other words, if I ask him this question for deliberation for the next meeting, is this something where I include the town board in my message or not?
It'd be great,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm new with this liaison thing.
I think you can, never worry about that really,
All right,
so,
okay,
yeah, but that's great, thank you.
okay,
So you'll write him an email about our discussion tonight?
yep.
Thank you, that's great. So
Sometime
we appreciate his detailed memos.
So the question that I have is if you want to communicate some of this orally, if it would be just more efficient to communicate some of this orally than via written memo.
If it's sensitive, yeah,
If it's what?
sensitive. yeah.
Okay. Okay. I can,
Great. Okay, shall I move on?
mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna offer this very interesting budget transfers resolution. And we're not gonna read it all, but if you glance over it and have any questions, let me know, but I do wanna make one change, so. The seventh number down,
On the backside,
did I do this right? Now, let's see, yeah,
5, 6, 7,
Records management.
for 165.
yeah, I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I do this right, so. That number, that transfer amount. Should be changed to $500 instead of $165.78. And Jesse, I have this notation and we'll give it to you tomorrow too. So that should be 500, and then a new transfer should be $115.78 from A1110.4 court contractual to A1480.4 public information contractual. So, and I had to make that change because we got the Mike Ledgate's webmaster bill came in right today, and so that pushed it up a little. Otherwise, if you have any questions about the other numbers, let me know. I think they're pretty straightforward. So hearing none with that change, did I get a second on this resolution as amended?
Second.
Tim seconded. Any further questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great, adopted. Then I'll offer a resolution for the use of reserve funds. $137,260.76. Transferred from A688 ARPA reserve funds to A8989.42, the community services broadband expenditure account. And then $24,094.60 from DA 233 highway equipment reserve to the DA 5130.2 machinery equipment reserve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Michelle. And discussion, I'll just say, I think maybe you're aware, but so this is our first expenditure of ARPA funds for the broadband project. And it expends a good share of them. So That's got my attention. And then the next amount is some of the money needed for the mower purchase that just happened. So. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Was the mower actually purchased? Was the mower purchased? Must have been.
I think so, yeah, this is, yeah,
This is one that's coming in 2 years, or is it gonna come?
no,
This year.
I think,
Mower.
Okay,
gosh, I think it's
'cause
gonna.
I know sometimes like the trucks take years.
The trucks take a
arrive,
while, but we
but
don't
then-
pay for them until they get here,
Oh, okay.
so. All right, offer the bill payment resolution. And I am seeing that I forgot to modify the A fund amount. So I'll offer a resolution to approve bills in the amount of I guess I'll do an actual.
Are you using real math with a real pen?
Yeah, I'm actually, you know,
Feel like I
not
went
using
back in
an
time.
Excel spreadsheet. So offer resolution to pay the town bills in the amounts of A fund of $169,539.60. Which is subject to modification if my math was wrong. DA fund is $252,089, isn't that interesting, and 47 cents. And now we've changed it. And then the streetlight fund of $271.41. And anybody want to second that?
You can second.
I can second it.
Michelle
go.
got it. Michelle got it.
Wasn't fast enough.
Any discussion? Okay.
Next one's more exciting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the bills are paid.
Do we need to sign something?
Yes, thank you. Yes, you do. This is, that's Mike's voucher, so if you could get a few more signatures on there, that would be just fantastic. So, and there's a pin. Oh. Then I guess I'll offer a resolution to enter executive session to, discuss employment matters, yeah.
Mark, before you adjourn, will you approve the minutes of December 4th?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes of December 4th?
Good work, Jesse.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I should always
Great.
look at turn my sheet back over and see where I am. Great, so the minutes of December 4th are hereby approved. Thank you. So with that, I will offer the motion to enter executive session, just discuss.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Kate.
Thank
All in
you.
favor? Aye.
Thanks, Jesse.
Opposed?
Thank you,
Okay.
Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse. And the
Thank
time.
you.